Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another open house webinar. Today's topic we have kept is open house on revised procedure for colocation rack allotment. With me from services team, I have Bharat Gandhi and Kavita Ahuja, who will be clarifying various questions on the caption topic. Before jumping into further clarity that we wanted to provide through this particular webinar, I wanted to provide you rationale on why the revised procedure was brought in for rack allotment. So generally exchange continuous basis reviews the processes and with aim to bring greater efficiency and transparency in the rack allotment process while retaining the ethos of being fair and equitable to all market participants. Exchange through circular number 61499, which was dated April 5th, 2024, had communicated the changes in the rack allotment process. Now, there were a couple of reasons why the existing rack allotment process was changed. The very first reason was till date, Exchange was not recognizing the end client from perspective of rack allotment, and same was only being managed at member level. Based on interaction with various FPIs and FI clients, it was understood that these entities need to plan their entry and setup in India. Availing a colocation rack was critical from perspective of planning and procuring servers and related hardware. Accordingly, they can plan their entry based on availability of required resources. A separate queue is being created for them. This was the first reason or rationale. The second rationale was to disseminate a waitlist number to each participant in the rack desire waitlist in the queue based on the category of applicant, which is FPI, FII, or new member or existing member. And the last rationale behind the revised procedure was existing members who have less racks and are looking forward to expand the business have a separate queue for allotment of racks and they can plan their expansion better. So while the circular, as I mentioned, was already issued, which clarifies at length about all the details that I've briefed just now, we thought why not to keep an open house session which will provide you more clarity on nuances pertaining to the subject. So let us try to get those clarities. The very first question I have with Bharat and Kavita is what is the change over the existing process for waitlist, if you can guide?
Yeah, so Exchange shall now be maintaining four separate queues basis the category of applications. So the first wait from the colocation facility from any of the racks. That is point one. And at max, basically, we will be allocating maximum 3 racks to a member, and it would be from one member only. So FPI, we know that it trades from multiple members, but the priority shall be considered only if applications have been given through one member. Now, the second waitlist would be made. Waitlist would be for the new members. So there are members who are not part of colocation facility and want to get a rack in colocation. Such members would be allowed to apply rack under this particular waitlist category. And for them, basically, any rack request submitted on the same day, on one single day, would be added to the second waitlist, subject to maximum 10 racks of any rack variant. The third waitlist would be for existing members. So we know that existing members continue to expand their business. So there are members who would have started with a fewer racks and now want to expand. So here, any member who has less than 10 racks in the current colocation facility and want to expand, so priority would be set. Basically, they would be included up to 10 requests, basically. So in total, they could have 10, let's just say they have 5 racks currently in colocation. Additional 5 racks would be added to this waitlist queue. Anything beyond that would be for the members having the fourth waitlist queue, that is more than 10 racks. So the fourth waitlist queue is members having 10 or more racks and having a requirement to take more racks would be added in the fourth queue. So thereby there would be an equitable distribution of the racks.
So basically, as you are saying, now there will be 4 waitlist queues that will be maintained. And I assume that based on the request received from a participant, system will automatically allocate the applicable queue to the participant or member, correct?
Yes, that is
Great. Now the next question is, what is the relevance of the waitlist, which is mentioned by you, and how does it impact the request which are submitted?
so. Historically speaking, Exchange used to continue add inventories by way of creating new colocation, adding new colocation racks. And in case basically existing members do surrender the racks time to time as per their business requirement,
Correct.
and these racks are made available in the pool
Mhm.
and are allocated to members based on FIFO basis.
Okay.
Now, since why we have created this wait lists, now what we are going to do is we are going to earmark the racks basically which are available to the specific queues.
Mhm.
So, like let's just say if we have 100 racks which are made available, added, 15 racks would be made available to the waitlist queue one.
Mhm.
Next 15 racks would be made available to waitlist queue two.
Mhm.
25 racks would be made available to the waitlist 3, that is for the existing members having less than 10 racks, and the remainder of 45% of the racks, so 45 racks would be made available to the fourth waitlist, that is members having more than 10 racks.
Okay.
And co-location facility.
And that is how probably, as you mentioned, this will be fair and equitable process for each and every participant.
So each and every category would have a fair chance to get a rack and start the business.
Correct. Kavita, any comments, additional comments?
No, I think as he rightly mentioned, 15% has been allocated for FPI and 15% for new members, as we want to give them, we want to place them, give them an equal chance of entering the markets.
Correct.
So we anyways had provision for giving provision for new members. We have
Mhm.
made an additional provision for FPIs also, so that they have clarity, as you rightly said in the context which you set up before we started our Q&A session, that they should have a clarity by when they can get the racks so they can plan their entry.
For FI clients to be considered in waitlist one.
So Exchange does not recognize clients at the time of allocation of racks. So
Okay.
all, even in this current scenario, all allotment and is going to happen to members basis their request.
Mhm.
Here, what we are just doing is taking an identification that this is on behalf of a particular client or so,
Correct.
but all the responsibility still lies on the member. It is member's responsibility to comply with the rules, regulations, policies, and circulars with respect to co-location and fair trading.
Okay.
Here, one point, as I said earlier, means the member applying on behalf of an FPI client, the FPI client should not be trading from co-location facility from any other member.
Mhm.
So hence, this is we are giving them preference. So we are adding them in the waitlist one, so that they
This
can
is
get.
basically first time, like whenever they're
Correct.
coming to the country first time, so they should get that preference. It is only one time.
So as Bharat was saying, that particular FPI or FI client is not trading through colocation through any member,
Yes.
considering it is a fresh FPI or FI client who is coming through colocation in India, then they will be getting this
It
particular
is,
preference
To be precise, through NSE colocation.
through NSE colocation. Yes, correct. Any other important points that they need to consider?
So, in case the member or the client is not utilizing the rack which has been allocated within the period of 6 months,
Mhm.
then they should actually consider surrendering the rack so that it is made available to the queue, waitlist queues, the allotment.
Okay, and it generally happens when the FPI or FI client disassociates with that particular member?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And second is the members, the dominant promoter group or any associated entity should also not hold any racks in NSE colocation.
Okay, so that is a very important point. So if you can just elaborate a bit more so that members are clear when they are dealing with the particular client while applying the rack.
So if they have any other associate, like a subsidiary company or a holding company or a company with the same dominant promoter group,
Okay.
that entity should not hold any rack in NSE colocation.
Okay.
So we don't want to encourage entities of the same group taking making use of this facility and trying to get more racks.
Understood. Because technically it won't be a fresh rack availment.
Yes.
Okay, great. So coming to the next particular point, while submitting the rack desire request, suppose somebody has applied for rack for a particular FPI client. However, can they use the rack which is allotted for different client or FPI group for prop or probably for prop trading as well?
The whole intent here was to encourage FPIs to come into the Indian market, participate from co-location, and have transparency and when they can get racks in co-location.
Okay.
So the whole intent was to encourage FPI community to come and participate on the platform.
Mhm.
So here the intent is it should be the FPI on whose behalf you have applied for rack should be using it.
Mhm.
In case they are not using it, they should surrender it and not to be used for any other category of client or property.
Okay, and in case they had applied for a particular FPI client and that relationship doesn't culminate, then should they go ahead and surrender that particular desire request or allotment which has happened?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, what action shall be taken by exchange if participant does not commence operations or trading from the allotted racks within 6 months from the date of allotment, which you have mentioned in the circular as well?
Yeah, in that case, exchange will cancel the allotment which has been made to the FPI, and we'll communicate the same to the member, and the member in turn has to communicate the same to the FPI.
Okay.
And then there is a cooling period of 6 months,
Mhm.
after which only the member or the FPI can come again and apply for the rack.
Okay, so for fresh application to happen again, there will be a cooling period of 6 months
Yes.
post these 6 months of period which has gotten over with. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you are mentioning, Kavita, that exchange shall also communicate in case they have not started the operations, is there any probable timeline around which we shall communicate to the members about the particular inactivity that is happening against the REC?
No, we will wait for 6 months. In case
Okay.
if they do not commence operations within 6 months, probably sometime before expiry of the period, we'll go and touch base with them.
As a matter of help to the member, just to intimate them.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then what will happen to the waitlist of the REC desire requests which are already submitted?
So we have multiple rack desire requests which are already submitted
Okay.
prior to April 1.
Mhm.
So those will continue to remain in our waitlist queues. But what we'll do is basis this waitlist categories of 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mhm.
The existing rack desire requests submitted would be re-categorized into the respective waitlist.
Okay.
So in case before 1st of April, there was no FPI category.
Mhm.
So the existing requests would be categorized under waitlist 2, 3, and 4. That is for new members, existing less than 10, and existing more than 10. And accordingly, they would be given a revised waitlist number.
Mhm.
And from April 1, whosoever is applying for FPI would get added in the waitlist.
By nature, it will be as per the
Yes.
new queues.
Yes.
Okay, great. Can a RAC desire request placed with exchange before issuance of the said circular on March 27, 2024 and April 5th, 2024 be mapped to FPI or FI clients? So basically this query is like, suppose RAC desire request was submitted earlier before these circulars and now they want to map it to FPI or FI clients. Can it be done?
So being transparent, basically this new circular or policies have been made implemented from April 1st.
Mhm.
So any request submitted prior,
Mhm.
they would be recategorized as per the queues, but we will not be able to earmark them against an FPI or FI client.
Okay. Okay. And in case such scenario happens, then can it be considered that members will have to put a fresh request for a FPI or FI clients who is coming in?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, Kavita, you were saying something. Any other comments related to this?
No, I think Bharat has covered this point.
Okay. So suppose somebody is saying that I am a trading member and I have placed 5 REC desire requests for a single FPI or FI client. Will these 5 requests be considered in waitlist 1?
No. So or if he's placed 5 requests, so what
Right.
maximum count we allow for a FPI is 3.
Okay.
So they can place up to 3 requests
Mhm.
for each FPI, and anything more than that will go to the waitlist 3 or 4 in the bucket of existing member.
Okay.
Since we do not recognize applications at a client level.
Mhm.
It is still been the case that always member only applies for a rack.
Correct.
So here also we are recognizing the FPI from perspective of giving him the rack allotment for the queue number 1.
Mhm.
So what we will say is the cap is there for 3 racks. He will
Mhm.
get up to 3 racks, and anything above that will move under Q3 or 4 depending upon how many racks member is holding currently.
Okay, and when you are saying that 3 requests are allowed, so that will be considered based on the first 3 requests which are placed, and
Yes.
4th and 5th will be reallotted as per the applicable queue.
Yes.
Okay, there's an important point, members, to take a note about, because in case you are placing multiple requests, then you need to know that how many requests will be considered for which particular queue and how the reallotment will happen to the separate queues as applicable. Okay, great. Next particular point comes, suppose somebody is a new member and have less than 10 rec desire requests placed at exchange, which are pending for allotment. If I place, I mean, if the member place additional rec desire request on subsequent day, will those requests be considered in waitlist too, or how it will be considered with?
So here when I started off, basically, new members submitting right desire requests on the same day are considered under waitlist too, up to a maximum of 10 requests.
Okay.
Now here the point to be noted is on the same day.
Okay.
So any subsequent request or any request which is more than 10 would automatically go to waitlist queue 3 or 4.
Okay.
So new request on a subsequent day or additional request on a subsequent day would go to waitlist 3 and 4 and
Okay.
not considered under waitlist 2.
Great. So suppose somebody is an existing trading member. Now this was the earlier one was for new member. Now suppose somebody is an existing trading member having 6 allotted racks which are already there with them, and if they have placed additional 5 rack desire requests, will the 5 requests altogether be considered in waitlist 3, or it will be a partial allotment?
So it would be partially considered under waitlist 3, and
Okay.
so here the limiting factor is count of 10.
Okay.
So 6 have already been allocated. 4 rack desire requests would be considered under waitlist 3.
Okay.
1 rack desire request would be considered under waitlist 4.
And again, as we recently discussed, I believe it will be based on first requests which are received. Those 4 will be on Q2, and then the fifth one will be on Q3.
Yes.
Okay, great. Suppose a member has 11 allotted racks. Now, these are scenario-based queries, particularly members. So you need to understand accordingly. Suppose somebody has 11 allotted racks, and if they surrender 2 racks, which leaves with 9 racks, right? Wherein count of the allotted racks comes down to 9, as I just mentioned, which is less than 10, which we were recently discussing. Further, member places additional 3 rack desire requests. Will this 3 requests be considered in waitlist 3, or how the scenario will
So as
come
the
out?
previous example said, even though member has surrendered a rack and now applying later on,
Yes.
applying for a new rack. So 1 rack would be considered under waitlist 3, the other 2 would go under waitlist 4.
Okay. One will be considered under 2 and 2 under 3, or how it will happen, because the count came down to 9,
9.
and then 3 new requests are being submitted.
Yes. So out of 3, 1 would be added under waitlist 3
Okay.
and 2 would be added under waitlist 4.
So
Oh.
1 will be added under less than 10 Q and 2 will
Got
be
it.
added in more than 10 Q. So that is
Sure.
3 and 4, waitlist 3 and 4.
Sure. Now again, another scenario-based question is received. If a member has 11 allotted racks and if they surrender 2 racks, which is similar to previous thing, wherein count of allotted rack again comes down to 9. Suppose member already has rack desire request which is pending for allotment. So will such rack desire request be considered on priority or not?
So when they had placed the rack desire request, the waitlist has already been categorized as 4 for that request.
Correct.
So since it is already categorized, there is not going to be any jumping of queues from waitlist 3 to 4 and 4 to 3. So it is going to continue to remain in waitlist 4.
Okay, so that they have to keep in mind if they are going to surrender racks and then some rack desire request is pending for allotment. Okay, great. Then probably from queries, scenario-based queries, the last scenario-based queries was, suppose somebody has submitted a rack desire request 3 months back, which is earlier, and it has payment received status. Can they cancel such rack desire request as they don't want to avail the same at this particular point of time?
So currently, as
So there are 3 scenarios wherein we allow cancellation and refund of the deposit. So first one is if the member has applied for a rack desire in the month of April and they withdraw the application in the month of April itself,
correct,
they can take the refund of the deposit back.
So basically calendar month they need to
Yeah.
cancel. Okay.
Yeah. Second is if they have availed a cross connect, that is an additional pair of 10G links in lieu of that surrender, then we allow them to take the deposit back, cancel the request in the rack desire waitlist, and they can take the deposit back.
And if I may ask if any time period is applicable for such cancellation allowance?
It should be in the same month, and they have to tell us, I have taken a cross connect and this is the rack desire I have. So I want to, cancel my rack desire waitlist and I have availed a cross connect. So please give my refund of deposit.
And they need to communicate via email to us, or
No, that's all digital.
digital. Okay, great. And
And the third
third
was,
one.
third is the we actually exchange, allots the racks within a time frame of 6 months.
Mhm.
So if that allotment does not happen in the time frame of 6 months, then members can request for a cancellation of the rack desire waitlist and they can avail their deposit back.
Okay, and again, that is a digital solution that we have already provided for those particular cancellations that they want to
So
submit.
currently 6 months expiry, period of 6 months, basically, that's manual at this point of
Manual.
time,
Okay,
but we would soon digitize it.
great. So till that particular point of time, somebody wants to cancel in scenario 3 that you just explained, it will be a manual and they need to email to.
So there is a format which we have issued along with the circular. So
Okay.
as per annexure 3 of the circular which we have issued, they can send across that request and we will accordingly
Great.
process it.
So members, particularly with circular, whatever annexures are also issued, you need to take care to refer them and accordingly use wherever applicable as per your requests which are being submitted, right? So I guess these were particular nuances that we received in terms of particular illustrations or some clarity that members required. So apart from these things that we have discussed, Bharat or Kavita, any summarizing points that you want to mention about the particular topic?
I think summarizing is key. How will we do the allotment? So
Mhm.
basically, exchange creates the rack capacity at their end from new rack capacity as well as the surrender of existing racks, if any.
Mhm.
So whenever there's a new capacity, we will be dividing those racks in the ratio of whatever are the 15, 15, 25, 45, as explained by Bharat earlier. And surrenders also, we will bifurcate in that fashion. So now the allocation to the members in the various queues will happen in those percentage allocations.
Okay, great. And one particular point which I missed is apart from these changes or revisions that we have discussed or mentioned in the circular, rest of the things remains intact as per the previous process. Am I correct?
Correct. So the entire colocation offering and everything else remains the same.
Yeah.
Here, what we have modified is basically the rack allotment process, how we are defining the wait lists. Only that part is being changed and the rack surrender request that is being changed. But the entire other things with respect to colocation offering, the handoff offering, the IP offering, all those things remains the same. There's no change in that.
Great. And that brings me to a particular small pointer. So whatever clarity that we have discussed, is there a possibility that we can release some FAQs or something on these clarity pointers as well?
Yeah, we will be shortly issuing these FAQs and we'll make it available on our website shortly.
Great. That will be very helpful to members who could not attend the particular session or maybe later on in future they want to refer these pointers. It will be very easy for them. Any other pointers that you would like to mention?
No, I think that's fine.
Great. So thank you members. Again, on behalf of each and everybody, I thank Bharat and Kavita as well to spare the time to come out and clarify on many pointers which probably were confusing on certain members' minds when they are applying for new recs or there are additional rec desire requests which are already pending for allotment. Definitely, in case any further communications or queries are received from other members as well, we'll try to communicate based on the case to case, and if required we can do the subsequent session as well, not only these topics, as by far you are already aware that we have been doing multiple open house webinars on various topics related to NSC and NSC clearing both. Will be committed to do more and more such sessions. We'll keep you informed on such sessions which are coming in near future as well. So with this, I guess we'd like to conclude today's open house webinar. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Willard.
Thank you.
Thank you.